I see things freeze up just a little bit. I am having a fantastic chat with Christopher Lemon, Chris Lemon, the son of an iconic actor that everybody in this country and the world knows, Jack Lemmon, the actor and father of Chris. Last night I saw at the Rubicon Theater, we're going to do a little plug here in the beginning, but at the
The
Rubicon
lovely
Theater,
Rubicon, yes.
I saw Chris's one-man show, Jack Lemmon Returns, a play version or a play realization of Christopher's book about his father, Twist of Lemon. Jack Lemmon Returns, written by Hershey Felder, who is very, very famous. Even
Co-written, I heard you. Co-written,
co-written. Oh, so you were involved,
of
obviously, right?
course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's my story.
There you go. But Hershey Felder is so well known for his one man shows also about very famous composers. I mean Beethoven, Gershwin, Chopin, Liszt, and so this is a great mutual compliment to both of you because this play last night about Jack Lemmon is not only very very funny. But also very moving, very touching, a great memoir of your dad,
Well,
and
thanks, Dan.
so we're going to talk about it. Let me do the goodies so that Rubicon will be happy with me. First, box office telephone number for Rubicon Theater Company in Ventura. You cannot say enough about Rubicon, and they are just an absolutely brilliant gem in Ventura's worldview, if you will.
They
Phone
really
up.
are. I'm just having a wonderful time at that theater. They're just great people, and it's a
Yeah.
lovely house.
Wonderful. I'm glad you say that. Everybody does. Listen, box office phone number. Now, Jack Lemmon Returns is going to be running through, hang on, I'll find it, through March 29th.
Yes,
So that's only about another week or so. People are going to need to, those of you in Southern California, I know a lot of subscribers watching this are throughout Southern California, Los Angeles. You're going to have to get on the line. I'm going to give you the phone number and buy tickets to this
Cal
incredible.
Worthington said, "Come on down."
I remember Hal. I think he may still be alive. I don't know, but anyway,
I
uh,
hope he is.
the show runs, as I said, through March 29th. The box office telephone number at Rubicon Theater in Ventura is area code 805 667 2900. Do not waste a minute. Get on the phone and buy tickets to this amazing one-man show by the son of Jack Lemmon, Christopher Lemmon. Okay, I want to. There's so much to ask. I have to kind of keep an eye on the clock here. But oh, by the way, Chris and I are Cal Arts grads. Now I don't know if that means anything, but we've got
That's
something
right.
in common.
We're both Cal Artians.
Cal Arsons, as you said last night in the green room, and I nearly fell on the floor. And also, let me just make clear here: this guy is a graduate in composition and music from Cal Arts, so we're not fooling around. This is not. And by the way, if I may, as I complimented you in an earlier email, the piano not only is a second character in this play, but your playing is magnificent. So
Thank you so much.
as was your father's. Why don't we just? I'm going to plunge ahead here. I want to talk about genetics for just a minute because what was so obvious was the you look just like your dad when you take on his character, Chris.
Yeah, if I don't, we're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a whole other question. But you take on the character of your dad, that vivacious, I guess, for lack of another word, that tremendously hyper energized
Yeah.
personality that Jack Lemmon had. But you also, of course, have the look and also this sitting down at the piano. Let's do just an overview about how that all came about. Your father taught you the piano. He took you to the piano. Go there for me. Won't you give me
Yeah,
that?
yeah. It's my mother and father were divorced at a very early
Mm.
age, which is sort of the crux of the story. A
Yeah.
father and son who were ripped apart and then managed to come back together, the best of friends against all odds,
Mm.
only to have the father die at a tragically early age. So it really is a very tragic story at its core. But of course, it's couched in the lore of the golden age of Hollywood. So there's all
Mm.
those wonderful characters and stories that revolve around this father son story. But basically, my father and mother remained good friends, and I think that he was very regretful about the divorce and the fact that that the bond was broken, so to speak,
Mm.
as you hear through the course of the story. And he would come over to where she lived in Harold Lloyd's old beach house on Santa Monica
Incredible.
Beach, this crazy old kind of wild old rambling place on Santa Monica Beach during that really age of Camelot that existed down there in Los Angeles in the late 60s, early 70s. He'd come over pretty much every day when he wasn't working, and he'd sit down at the piano and play. And of course, I would come over and and start pounding away next to him. And finally, he says, "Kid, I think if you're gonna start playing with me, every time I come over here, you're gonna need to learn how to do it." So he started teaching me how to play, and then he says, "I think you need to take a few lessons too." And so I started taking lessons, and the monster was born, so to speak. It was really a very pivotal thing, because it was also music that ended up bringing us back together after we were ripped apart. So
yeah.
A typically long lemon answer to your question.
That was marvelous.
We do a half hour on Hello Us Lemon. So.
That was marvelous, and I thank you for that. But also about the instrument, the piano, just being and musicians. Everybody knows this. The idea of solace. Your father, through some troubles that we'll discuss, it's obvious that the piano was a great retreat, a great solace for him. And go ahead, talk to that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's maybe even more true of those who are kind of what I would deem by ear players. It really is a choice to take up an instrument and become really quite adept at it. If you're not if you haven't studied the craft and the theory of it. Though I studied classical piano, I think I might put myself in the by ear department too. It's how I started. And it really has to be born out of a great love of doing what you're doing. And it becomes for you, yes, a solace, yes, an enormously comforting thing in your life, and yes, an escape. There's so much pressure in life, and I think there was for pop too. I mean, obviously this man was the biggest box office star for about a decade in Hollywood, and was a staple worldwide. So there's a lot of pressure that goes along with that. Even if you are as delightful a human being as my father was. And so to be able to escape into music was a wonderful thing for him. And then for us to be able to share that and to take it even a step further, to have it be the catalyst that brought us back together after being ripped apart as we were. It made music very, very special for us individually, and for both of us as a father and a son.
And I hate to label you particularly in this way, but people who are great successes are also obsessed with career, with what they do, and
Yes.
that puts the pressure on, And they, the play makes clear, his Jack's character, if you will, was 24/7. I have a feeling.
Well, yes, it's a very important part of the narrative of this story. The fact is, yes, he was. Career did come first, and that was one of the things that. There's a very, very a touching moment in the play, if I may be so bold as to say, where I become Jack for the play. I do it in my father's voice. Jack confesses to the audience that he placed his career first over his family, and it just was the way it was. This was his life, and you know what? It's a little understandable too. I chose not to as a father. Actually, I chose to do the exact opposite. I took off and went off to New England to raise my 3 kids. It was that important to me. And now I've got 3 kids in college at the same time at Trinity, LaSalle, and Yale. My daughter's a master's study at Yale. Dan and I were joking earlier that we place. My father went to Harvard. We were joking about Yale and Harvard, that we definitely place CalArts in that category as well. So this play had better succeed. 3 kids in college at the same time. But no, and I think it may have been a reaction to that, but it was what it was. The guy realized his own fallacies and his own shortfalls, and tried to do something about that. And he made a conscious effort to bring us back together, and that's what this story is all about.
Yeah, and I love this idea of discipline. the importance of discipline, and your father's discipline in realizing when things were out of hand, his alcoholism, and the really tremendous discipline of getting off of that road, that self-destructive road. In the play, you mentioned that very moment where he has had a tremendous binge, and all of a sudden there you are as a young kid standing in the doorway. You want to just touch on that for just a second?
Sure. Yeah, I got a call out of the blue, and the maid called me and said, "You need to come over right now." And I came over, and the house, it was a wreck. It was booze. There was, as my father says in the play, booze, broken glass, and blood. He'd fallen down and cut his head open. And there was booze, broken glass, and blood all over the place. And I walked into it. And he came walking down the stair, and he took a look at me. And as my father says, I walked down the stairs, still drunk, hungover, with a bloody dish towel hanging off the side of my head. And I see my kid looking at me with those questions in his eyes. And I realized this is what he'd looked at for the last 20 years. And I swore that would never happen again. And it didn't.
Yeah, very powerful.
But with such pride, because he made that decision.
Exactly.
And I was able to see this incredibly courageous man make a gut-wrenching decision. And he never did. He never looked back. He never had one drink after that. I stand testament to that because I was with him.
That's what I mean about discipline. His discipline as an actor, his discipline as a thinker, as a great man, and his discipline when there was trouble fixing it. Like his relationship with you.
He was a fine man. My father raised the bar wherever he went, for everyone he met. And I've done my very best to emulate that in my life. And it is my duty to emulate it in this show.
And let's just talk about forgiveness. May I salute you? There is plenty to be very angry about, I presume.
I don't have any patience for wire coat hanger stars kids. I just don't. I mean, our sons and daughters are overseas getting blown up for our country, and I just don't have any patience. You get dealt your cards, you play them. That's it. Don't complain about them. Yes, it's my duty to tell you the story. It's my duty, if I'm going to tell you that story, to show you all the bumps in the road. We all have them. This story may be unique. It may be about Jack and Chris Lemmon, but it is very universal. It takes place in every home in the world. And so, no, the wire coat hangers, I'm a Stars kid, oh, poor me, go.
Well put.
That being said, hey, listen, it's not easy. I mean, I think especially the whole fact that that you're raised, you spend your adolescence identified as an object, not a person. I was never Chris Lemmon growing up. I was Jack Lemmon's son. You're Jack Lemmon's son? Oh, he's my absolute favorite. Tell your daddy we love him, won't you? What was your name again? Oh, well, that doesn't matter. That does exist. But no, don't complain about it. There's a lot of people with much bumpier roads than us Stars kids.
And you were quote Jack's my little hotshot.
I was the hotshot. Yeah, he's my little hotshot. Yeah.
I want to just touch on a particular episode that's brought up in the play. This episode of the two of you going fishing.
Yeah.
Give my folks that are watching this that little overview, and then what I really want to ask you is, did you see him? I don't want to be insulting, but for real, as opposed to that persona, that hyper persona, was he somehow quiet out there in the wilderness? Go ahead, give me the anecdote.
No, he was never quiet.
So that was Jack Lemmon.
Wilderness, it doesn't make any difference. He made a conscious effort. He realized what was going on, and he made a conscious effort to bring us back together. And that was a very brave thing for him to do as well. He fought against those monsters that had pulled us apart, which I call the voices in his ear in the play, because it's my duty to let you decide who and why and all of that stuff. I can't tell you as a narrator, or else I'm not being a good storyteller. So the voices whispering in his ear that pulled us apart, he realized it over the course of time, and began to bring us back together, a conscious decision on his part. And one of the first things he did, later it became golf at Pebble Beach, which is a comedy in itself. Jack and Chris Lemmon playing golf together is really, it's very funny. Just trust me on this. But even funnier was us fishing together in Alaska because there was a lot of falling in the water, being chased by bears, otters, chipmunks. Have you ever seen a grown man chased by a chipmunk? It's sad. It's and yes, you would think that there would be some communing with nature in that incredibly glorious place, but no, it was more like knots and fly lines, and oh, I've got a fish, what, sweep right into the drink, and just lots of laughter, lots and lots of laughter. Boy, when you were with Jack Lemmon, you laughed a lot. And may I say, be so bold as to say, me too. We love fun and funny and laugh and being and that's the real thing. That was the final. Well, it was really music. That was the final catalyst that really brought us back together. We could jam all night long. We'd play the blues, man. We just play the blues for hours. We could do it for hours. I can't sit in for hours and play the blues now, unless he was sitting by my side. I miss him so damn much. But anyways, I don't even fish anymore. I don't even play golf. I can't. It's not the same without him. It's just I stopped playing golf.
And you, let me interrupt for just a second. You forgot.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, no. You forgot the real punchline, which was apparently he tried and tried and tried to do. I don't know much about golf, but the idea was he tried and tried and tried at Pebble Beach, and you apparently knocked it right
I
into
did make the cut. Yes, and he never forgave me. 35 years he tried to make the cut at Pebble Beach, and I made the cut, and he never let me forget it. He did, however, follow me around all day Sunday and tell me how to play every single shot.
Oh, that's terribly rude of him, isn't it?
Yeah,
he was trying to throw you off.
Oh, that's him. That's him. You should have seen I remember the first year there. I played the Celebrity Scramble, and somehow managed to actually make it through to the very last hole. And I look across, and my competitor is baseball superstar Mark McGwire. Well, of course it's Mark McGwire. You know what? I'm a lemon. Of course it's going to be Mark McGwire. Why couldn't it be Alice Cooper? But it's Mark McGwire. And as McGwire is flexing his huge muscles over the ball, my father sidles up to me, looking at him like he would look at a pissed-off grizzly bear up in Alaska. Looking at McGwire, he goes, that's one big son of a bitch, isn't it? I say, Pop, you're out of the tournament. You dropped out 3 holes ago. You're trying to game me? He says, I'm not trying to game you. I'm not trying to game you. But that's one big son of a bitch. And then McGwire impossibly takes this incredible swing at the ball and hits it off the heel of his club and straight into the water. My father turns to me, he says, you just won. And then equally unbelievably, the ball hits the only rock sticking up out of the water, ricochets off of it, and right back into the middle of the fairway. My father turns to me and says, you just lost.
Nice to have a guy like that around, Look at that.
That's what it was like being with Jack Lemmon.
Would you mind doing the profile just once more? See what I mean, everybody? Well, you can, I think...
My daughter, you should see my daughter, the Yale master's student. She's got the same profile.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, what shall I say? Ambition and intelligence and all the rest of it runs in the family. And I think all of those people out there that are watching this have an idea of what this incredible evening of one-man theater.
It's a fun night. Come on down.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Cal. Listen, let me just run through the goodies again, and I think we're finished. Christopher Lemmon, thank you very, very much for giving me.
Oh, my pleasure, Dan. Thanks for having me.
We are talking about the play Jack Lemmon Returns, and who else could do it but his son, Chris Lemmon. The play is written by Hershey Felder, obviously in cooperation with Christopher. Hello.
It was based on my book, and then Hershey came in and threw some stuff in.
Yeah. And we're talking about the Rubicon Theater Company, which is always presents amazing programs, amazing plays. It's just a gem in the Ventura area. And just so you know, March 29th, it's coming up fast. That's the last opportunity you're going to have to see this wonderful play and to see Chris Lemmon play some magnificent music, by the way. You're a fabulous pianist. Cal Arts did you good, apparently, and your dad obviously paved the way in giving you that training from whatever.
He was a hell of a pianist.
Yeah. We're talking March 29th. The play runs through March 29th at the Rubicon Theater in Ventura. Box office number for tickets. Come on, get your pens, get your paper ready. Area code 805 667-2900. I saw the play last night. I'm going to be thinking about it for a long, long time
Well, thanks,
to
Dan.
come,
It's a
as will
wonderful
all
theater
others.
too, boy.
Yeah,
I love that theater. It's just
yeah,
terrific. It's
yeah,
got such a wonderful, warm, and welcoming feel.
yeah.
Yeah. Hats off to all the folks at the Rubicon.
Chris Lemon, thank you very much indeed for the time. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Dan.
All right.